Hi, I'm Cheryl, and I have this watercolor effect card to share with you today. I've made it into a thank you card, but you could substitute out the sentiments and make it anything that you would care to make it. Could be a birthday card, an anniversary card, or a sympathy card. It would just go pretty much any way you wanted it. So let's get started on this, and you'll need a piece of Whisper White, 5.5 by 8.5, and that's scored and folded at 4 1/4. In my sample card, I used Wisteria Wonder as my color, but I'm going to use the new Berry Burst. That's one of the new 2017 to 2018 in colors that Stampin' Up has come out with. So I have a piece of the Berry Burst cardstock, and that's 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. And don't worry about writing this stuff down because it'll all be listed down below. I have another piece of Whisper White. It's 5 1/4 by 4, and I've already embossed it because it's just standard embossing on this paper, and I don't see the need to show you how to do that. This is just whatever plates you need for your particular machine. Just emboss it and go for it. Now I've used the Gift of Love stamp set. Let's see. There we go. I used the big flower here. And I used the sentiment, you have a gift for making others feel loved. And then thank you for the inside of the card. I used those three set stamps. And then from the Sunshine Sayings stamp set, I used this watercolor splotch right here. And if you don't have this, if you have something else with the watercolor splotch in it, then substitute that. I have my mini Misty here because I happen to know from experience that this particular stamp does not ever stamp well on the first stamping. So I have that set up in my mini Misty, and I have a piece of watercolor paper, and this is 3 1/2 by 4 3/4, and it's oh, what brand of watercolor paper is this? It's the Fabriano Hot Press, which means that it's a smooth surface, and it's 140-pound paper. And you can get that, I got that in like a, I don't know, a booklet, a tablet. It's like a bound thing with all, I don't know how many sheets of paper in it. Got a bunch of paper in it. And I'll put a link down below. I believe I got it on Amazon. I get a lot of things on Amazon. And this is the embossing folder I use, but you could use whatever embossing folder you like. I'd go with a little kind of a busy pattern because there's only about a quarter inch of that showing around the edge here. So you want something that the design is going to show up. And this one is Circle Interlock, and it's by the Darice company. And Memento Black ink, the Tuxedo Black. I'm using always Artichoke. And for this one, I'm using Berry Burst. I used the Wisteria Wonder on the sample. I have my water spritzer and my Tombow. So always need your Tombow. So let's get started on this card, and we'll start right here with my Troublemaker flower. If you don't have this flower set, then any tall floral spray type of thing would work. So if you don't have it, look through your stamps. Maybe you have something that's kind of similar to it. And we'll ink that up real good with the Tuxedo Black. I don't know why this stamp always misbehaves, but it does. So let's see how that comes out. Yep, see? It always misses that little section there. I don't know why. It's just one of the great mysteries of the universe. Okay, so I'll press real hard there on that part. Let's see if we get... Ah, there we go. Perfect. So now we can take this out. Get rid of the Misty. My little mini Misty. And we'll stamp the sentiment on the front also. Since we have our ink out. And I'm going to put it right there. I couldn't put this on the mini Misty because it kind of overlaps the other stamp area. You can see where it goes. The F kind of just wraps into that little section there. So I couldn't do it. And if I get my, let's see, where did it get to? Get my card base out here. I can stamp my thank you also while I still have my Memento out. And see if I can get that straight. If you hear like a snoring noise in the background, that's not me. That's my kitty Chaos. He's here helping me. I have Pearl here too, so if you hear jingling, that's her scratching. And her tags jingling. And let me wipe that up. I somehow got a little of the black ink on here. Okay. So now we can do our little watercolor stamps. And I'll start with the Always Artichoke. Ink that up. That looks good. I'm going to take my Stampin Spritzer, and off to the side I'm going to give it a couple spritzes. This is why we want the watercolor paper. I just think that the regular cardstock would just be a little bit too flimsy to hold up to the watercoloring. Okay, and that's good. And up at the top here, I'm just going to use part of my stamp up at the top. And I just inked up part of the stamp. And you notice I have a hard line here, so I'm going to take a bit of paper towel and I'm just going to smudge that line so that it's not, we don't have like a hard stripe there. And give that a couple spritzes, and we'll stamp that up at the very top here. Add a little bit of an angle. And let me clean that off, because now we're going to go into the berry burst. And get that out here. This is a really pretty color. Ink that up. Give that a couple spritzes. And stamp that. I want to make sure that it at least touches the green down here. Hopefully I got it. It's a little hard to tell with a rubber stamp. Okay, so that's pretty good. We'll ink that up again. Give that a couple spritzes. And now on all these I've had it with the larger side of the stamp down and the smaller side towards the top. I'm going to flip it over this time and I'm going to put the smaller portion down. And let's see how that lines up. Oh, that's not too bad. And this will dry a little bit lighter. And as a matter of fact, let me get my, I have my aqua painter here handy. I'm going to, I have a little spot here that didn't cover at all. I'm going to give this a squeeze. Oops, didn't squeeze it hard enough. Give that a squeeze so I can get a little puddle. There we go. And I have a little palette here to work on. I'm just going to grab up a little bit of this with my aqua painter. I'm just going to dab that in there, and then just a little bit down here too, where they didn't quite meet up. I'll clean that aqua painter out so that it's all ready for me next time. Because by the next time I use it, I'll have forgotten that I have this berry burst in there. Okay. So now we're ready. We can start putting our card together. That went pretty fast, didn't it? So I have my embossed piece of white. I have my base. I have my decorated front panel here, and we'll make sure that that's opening the right way. And just get my Tombow glue here. And in any one of these layers, you could use dimensionals if you like and pop it up. We're going to get a little bit of dimension anyway because of the embossing on this piece. You want to get that centered real nice. The embossing just naturally lifts that panel up a little bit. And some Tombow on this one. And put that there. Center that. I'm using the Tombow instead of my snail because, well, on the embossing piece, I don't want to have to press hard enough that I'm going to squash down all that nice embossing. And then on this top piece, we just have that tiny little bit showing around the edge, and I just like to have that extra couple, you know, get that few seconds to get it lined up nice. If you had, if you used a tape runner, it would have been stuck down. So I've got a brand new bottle of Tombow, and I'm not used to it. I'm putting just big globs of Tombow down there, and that's not really necessary. Now we'll put this on the front. And get that lined up. Just lightly press that in place. And our card is finished. Okay, so there's my my sample card. And then there's this one. And like I said, this will dry a little bit lighter once it has a chance to dry. But it's basically the color. So I hope you like this card today. If you have, then be sure to hit that like button down below. If you want to see more of my videos, hit the subscribe. Or if there are any Stampin' Up! Products that you'd like to purchase, then you can do that either through my Facebook page or my website. And as always, I'll have all the materials I used today listed down below. So y'all take care, stay safe, and happy stamping.